Okay, so this video is the continuation of the enemy setup. This is a little bit more, I guess, tiny bit more advanced. So I want to cover two things in this video. The first one is in the last couple of videos I dealt with boxes. So anything that a player can crouch behind, that's at about waist level. But I want to also do another. I want to add a functionality where you can hide behind taller objects like a wall or any other sort of obstruction. That's the first thing that I want to cover. Sorry, this is something that I already did, so I'm just going to show you what I did. And the second thing that I want to cover is if you saw the previous videos, when he's just say crouching behind a box and then he appears. I'll just play and show you. So let's just say he's over here, and then the enemy eventually sees him. And just say he crouches, then the enemy looks around for about 6 seconds, and then he resumes his walk around the spline. And if I do that again, then he aims again. So that's the second thing that I'm going to explain. But the first thing is I'm going to explain this obstruction. So first, I need in the enemy. In the last video, I added a rotator that constantly looks for these boxes, but the rotator constantly looks for the player, and as it constantly rotates around tracking the player, it has another object that searches for these boxes. So these boxes, or this empty object shoots a raycast, but I created another one. So this one is searching for boxes, so it's way down here. I created another one that's at his chest level, and this will look for any obstruction that is higher than these boxes. And also the boxes, I also needed to give it a tag called obstruction. I could have just called it wall, but I figured if I just call it obstruction, then I could apply it to anything like, I don't know, a tree or a big rock or something. So with that explained, I'll go into the script and explain what I did with the script. So first I need, in the enemy script, I need a game object look at obstruction raycast. So this empty object here, just it's dumped into here, look at obstruction. And I also need a boolean based on whether it hits an obstruction or not. So if it hits, then the boolean is true, and if not, then it's false. So with that done, inside the update, this first raycast was for boxes that was near his shins, but this one is the one from his chest that shoots out from the look at obstruction raycast and then goes forward from the same spot. And the hit number is 2 because I already have a hit up here. And if hit 2 collides with anything that's tagged obstruction, then obstruction visible is true. If not, then it's set to false. And basically all I did was I incorporated this into my script down here. So everything that I did for the box detection, I put it inside of if obstruction visible is false. So if it's not detecting a wall or any sort of obstruction, then I can do all this stuff. But if it does detect, just say, a wall that's like the height of the character, then player detected must be false, because if the character is behind, then the enemy shouldn't be able to detect them. So that's That's the first thing, and then the second thing has to do with the enemy looking around after the player disappears. So the player, just say he pops up behind a box or a wall and he hides again, then the enemy's going to look around. So the first thing is in the animator, I added an animation where he just looks around. So he basically goes from this aiming situation here, and when the player just say crouches and disappears, then he looks around. So I have a boolean called looking around. So if looking around is true, it goes here, and if it's false, I made it so that it can go here, or it can go straight to the blend tree, because this is where he does the normal walk. So it goes back with his gun down and resumes walking around the spline. So in the script, all I needed was to create a boolean called isAiming and set it to false. By default, he's not aiming. So all I did was here, the last part of the this script where we're determining whether the enemy detects the player. All I did was if the player detected is true, if the enemy detects the player, then aiming is true because is aiming animation is true. He's standing still, so the speed is 0. He's constantly rotating towards the player while he's aiming, and the spline animation where he's going around the spline is paused. So at this situation, it's true when the player is detected. If the player isn't detected, instead of setting isAiming to false right away, all this stuff that's supposed to happen where he's walking around the spline and the walking animation is playing and he's no longer aiming, all this stuff happens if isAiming set to false. So instead of setting aim to false immediately, I do a quarantine, and as soon as I do that, I also set the animator set bool looking around. So as soon as player detected is equal to false, aiming is already true. This looking around animation is triggered, and the start quarantine stop aiming, it goes for 6 seconds, and then isAiming set to false, which triggers all this stuff inside here, and then the animator set bool looking around is set to false, so that way it goes back. It can go back to either one. I just put both just for safety reasons, I guess, just in case, I don't know, sometimes if it goes just in one path, then it might take too long and it might look funny, but that's why I did both. So everything works well, so I'll just show you. I'll show you with the wall first. So let's just say I'm behind the wall. As soon as he turns around, he can't see me, but as soon as I pop out, he aims, and then when I hide again, he's looking for me. And after 6 seconds, he starts walking around, and if I'm visible again, I can crouch. But the problem is, as soon as I do it the second time, it doesn't do the looking around for some reason. That part I haven't figured out. But if some time passes, just say it does another lap, and then I make myself invisible again, and then I hide, then he does it again. But for some reason it doesn't do it again immediately. So he sees me, aims, then I hide again, then he just starts walking, which is not what I want. So that part I haven't figured out. But yeah, but as you can see, the rest of it works. So if I go here, hiding behind the wall, he sees me, then he doesn't. He looks around for 6 seconds, and then starts walking again. Okay, so that's all I wanted to do for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and please stay tuned for future videos. Okay, thanks.